Hello and a very good evening to everybody who's joined in today. My name is Devyani Singh, and from the Abundant Life Group, I would like to extend a very warm welcome and gratitude to everybody who's tuned in on the Zoom and YouTube link. So, the topic for today is the life of life. And before we start the topic, I would like to talk a little bit about the organization, The Abundant Life. As the name suggests, the organization also believes in living abundantly and living your life to the fullest. We truly believe that one's happiness comes from themselves and, of course, from the small joys of the life, but mainly you're the one who, gives yourself that happiness. Abundant Life offers a wide variety of courses in psychology. We offer courses to students, professionals, and to psychology enthusiasts alike. And we have something or the other tailor made for everybody around us. With that, I would like to welcome Mr. Samuel Teja, who is the founder and CEO of the Abundant Life Group, to speak about this topic. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening, Devyani.
So, sir, first things first, what is the light of life? What is this topic about?
Yeah, so actually, since it's a festive season, and I think on after 2 days, the entire country would be celebrating this festival of life. And so I thought of organizing this webinar, talking about, light in context of life, because our life itself is a light. you know so we chosen this topic, that how we could identify the light of our life. Like, we've been doing a lot of preparation for this festival. We've been preparing our houses, we've been painting, we've been cleaning, we've been putting and lighting our houses, a lot of things we've been doing. But when we talk about our life, there is hardly any preparation that we make on our life, to realize the light within. So the purpose of this webinar is to basically to help us that when we are born, we are so illuminated, and as we journey through the life, that life goes off. So today's webinar, we would be focusing more on how we could reconnect with ourselves, and how we could reconnecting with ourselves. How could we find the true essence of this life, which is a light of life? So that is the basic agenda and the purpose behind taking this topic for today. Yes, Devyani, any other question you have before I take it further?
Yes, sir. So, speaking on the topic, what is what is life? Since we talk about what is the light of life, and figuratively we know that maybe the light is a source that gives us energy, or something that we can see, or something that is illuminated. But what, according to you, is life?
See, a light, I would say that, as I told you, that the moment we are born, like, so we are connected, all of us are connected with the divine energy, which is basically our existence, and all of us believe in the something or the other superpower, or the higher energy, in the form of spirituality, so we would say there is a already existence of light within. There is always so our, I would say, the purpose of our life is identifying that life within us, and that life within us would help us find the true purpose of our life. So that's what I feel that the meaning, according to me, which I figured out.
So now, since we've thought of hosting a webinar and a live session, and the light of life, what do you think are the stages that a person goes through, and what do you think can be the light of people's lives?
See, as I already told that, which I will be again talking in my session as well. The as we begin our life, our life actually starts a way before, we are born. Before our existence on earth. So we all go through different phases, like we go through and the phase of infancy, we go through a phase of childhood, you know, and we go through a phase of teenage, adulthood, So I would say there is no specific stage that when we can be enlightened. I think it totally depends on, I have seen people, having that kind of wisdom and enlightenment, even in the teenage itself, and I have seen people who have not got enlightened or didn't realize the purpose and the light of their life even when they are in their last stage of their life. So I think there is no nothing called particular stage. It completely depends on person to person and how much we are connected with ourselves and how much we are connected with the divine energy and the light.
Right. So, I remember in like one of your sessions, you were talking about how there are things in our life which we can control, and there are things that we can't control, and maybe are out of your hand. So, what are your views on that?
Yeah, definitely. We can say there are many things, which are not in our control because, which I'll be talking again in brief in my session. What all those things which are not in our control. So there are many events. So it's always suggested that maybe sometime we try to reinvent the wheel when the wheel is already invented. Sometimes we cannot change certain things, but what we could change is our perspective, our view about that particular thing. So when we go on the trip to change other people or change the situation many times, which seems not to be changing, I think then we struggle, we go through a lot of struggles. But the once we realize that okay, fine, these situations cannot be changed, so there we take initiative to change ourselves, I think, and once we change ourselves, we are able to see everything change around us.
Right, sir. So, what do can you like share some instance where something was the light of your life, or like you found your light or that path?
Yeah, so for me, I would say that it is the this journey of this being in this field of mental health. You know, I have realized, there have been many people. So one of the person I remember, she was my therapist, and I had really gone through a lot of childhood trauma. So she was the one who helped me to come in terms with those wounds which I got as a child, and that really became the light of my life because that kind of I felt relieved from those negative emotions and those negative events which I've been holding on to it, and that therapist helped me, through the inner healing child process, healing the inner child process to come in terms with myself. So since I was carrying that wounded child within me, that wounded child got healed because of those sessions, and I could really see. And the other thing which really enlightened me, the lot of scriptures that I read every day. So every day I read scriptures, I find uh, they are taking me, bringing a lot of wisdom and knowledge, and I can able to connect those scriptures to my day-to-day life and to the psychology concepts as well. So that has been really helpful, and the two things: one is that person, two people who have helped me. Secondly, the word of God itself has been light of life for me.
Right, that's lovely. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. So, what do you suggest somebody who's maybe feeling low and is worried about how things are going to turn out in their lives? Like, for example, if I, as a college student, feel very stressed about my applications and my exams and all, everything is online. It's so hard to cope up. How do I derive that small light from things around me? What do I do? How do I manage myself?
See, I think it's all about, first of all, accepting the situation. Most of the time, we
Hmm.
live in the face of denial, where we are not able to adapt to that change. Now we know
Right.
that the change is necessary, And when we are struggling, it's not like we are not able to cope up with the situation, but it's that we are not ready and willing to accept the situation. Okay, this is, now we know. Earlier, initially it was very difficult, but if we know that transition has already come, people have accepted to larger extent this online schooling, online teaching. People have already come in term, but initially there was a lot of resistance, and the change is always difficult. So as a college student, definitely you will have that resistance because you're not that used to. But again, I think because anyway you got to do it, whether you do it cribbing about it, or whether you
Yes.
do it accepting about it. So in both the cases you got to do it. So better, I think we make a better choice. We make a choice of accepting it and then doing it, which
Hmm.
would bring more joy and happiness. Yes. So that's it.
Right. That's really lovely to hear. I'm sure that it's going to help everybody who's listening and is maybe in a place in their life where they want to derive that sort of life or that sort of small joys from different things that they do in life. So coming back to the topic as a whole, do you have anything else that you would like to talk um, about today for today's webinar addressing everybody who's here today?
Yeah, so I think there's a lot which I'm going to share it through my presentation, and I
Hmm.
think everyone is going to really benefit, which I do not want to disclose at the moment what is there inside. So I think we will go with the flow, and if somebody has anything, maybe we have a Q&A session towards the end. We'll have 15 minutes
Right.
where the forum would be open for the questions for the people to ask. And till then, I think we will focus on the presentation and what I got to offer to my audience. But as a whole, I would say that this session has really benefited me because I do not share something with people unless and until I have practiced it in my own life. And the concepts which I am sharing with you, it's not just information or the presentation. I would say it is a experience which I have accumulated over the years, and my observation and my work with my clients over the last 10 years. So this is one of my favorite topic which really been helping people. I have spoken on this same topic of life because my organization itself talk about life. It's promoting life, experiencing life in fullness. So this webinar would really help people to understand the life, the deeper meaning of life. That is the major focus of today. So shall we carry on, Devyani?
Yes, sir, absolutely.
All right,
If anybody has any doubts or any queries or any suggestions, please do let us know in the chat box.
all right, great. So let's begin the session. So as Devyani has already mentioned that the topic for today is a light of life, and the topic has been introduced already. So as we all know that everything that's happening, in our life, it's connected with our life. So I would say that our life is connected like a web. It's a web of relationship, where we are connected, like we as if our life ever since it's born, we belong to a particular family. So to begin this topic of life, I'm just going to take you uh, talking about life in general. Now if we talk about life, so if we talk about life, usually what comes to our mind that life begins when we are born. Most of us think that our life begins when we are born. But let me tell you, life begins even before we are born. You know, when your mother conceived you know, when you are just a single cell, that is when your life began. And that when that life began, everything that your mother felt, everything she experienced those 9 months, what we call it as a prenatal stage, everything is connected with your life, which is to start or which is to begin after 9 months. you know. So your preparation for your life begins a much earlier. So that's why, when a lot of the pregnant women, those who come to me for counseling, when I happen to do a counseling for them, I do suggest them this is a very important phase of your life, because this is something which is being, here you are laying the foundation, for the parenting. I usually tell the parents that we do not become a parent, when a child is born. Usually parents think that we become parent once the child is born. We get the designation of being a father or a mother. No. So I tell them, the moment you think of, when you're still in the planning process, when you're thinking to have a baby, I think that is where the we can say the parenting process begin. Because having a child is a very big commitment, I would say that. I've seen a lot of parents, they are not that prepared to have a child, but when the child is born, they are not ready to take that responsibility. Because when you are not capable of handling another life, I think we should not take a decision, to bring that life to the world, so it's very important aspect, that it's a huge, it's like having a baby is like getting married. You cannot, so it's a big commitment, I would say. And the life, and if we talk about life has, which Devyani, I was discussing with her now, that there are few things which we cannot change about our life. Now let's look at which are those few things which we cannot change about our life, and over which we have no control over. So one of the thing which I would like to discuss with you, so life, as I told you, life begins even before your birth. So B is the starting point of your life on earth, you know. So B is the starting point of your life. So B stands for birth here. The moment you are born on this planet earth, when your mother gives you a birth, so when you're born, that's when your life begins. Now if I ask you a question, do you have control over your birth, or did you have a choice who would be your parents, whose house you are to be born, So I think if we were to have a choice, I think we could have made a better choice. We could have chosen our parents, making the choices. But let me tell you, birth is an event which we have no control over, and we have no idea about, who would be my mother, who would be my father. So this is the event you cannot bring about any change, and you have no control over it. Now, second most important event is D. Now, D stands for death here. Death is another most important event of our life which we have no control over. Now, if I ask you a question that, do you know when are you going to die? I think you would have no, answer to it, because we have not got any email, we haven't got any SMS, we haven't got any text from God telling that, you are going to die on so and so day. So these are the two very major important events of our life, B and D. B stands for birth and the D stands for death. So both these events we have no control over, because we cannot choose our parents, we cannot choose that which place we are to be born, or nor do we decide that when we are going to die. So let me tell you, our life is a journey between B and D. It starts at birth and it goes up to death. Now, so I always compare this B. B is a birth, which is a takeoff point for you, where your life takes off. And D is a landing point where your plane lands. Now, if you see, when our life takes off, you know, everyone is so excited about, everyone's so happy. And when you land, everyone would cry about it. They, because of, feeling the loss of the particular person. Now, if we see, these are the two natural events, which happen, birth and death. But we see nowadays there are a lot of emergency landing happening. What is that emergency landing I'm talking about? Emergency landing when we decide to finish up our life. We see nowadays many people are losing the essence of their life. They are trying to finish up of their life. So I would say that B and D are the very natural event, but there are sometimes we uh, bring about, we choose to hit the D point, either we are forced into, or we are going through some emotional trouble, or we are going through some psychological problem, which is kind of making us, to land ourselves either, in the time of emergency or forcefully. Now, there is another very very important event of our life, very important event. B stands for birth and D stands for death, and both these events we have no control over. And the C stands for a challenge. C stands for a challenge. Now if you look at, these challenges are been part and parcel of our life ever since we are born. Ever since we have taken birth, the challenges begin. And this list of these challenges go on and on, go on and on. Now, I want to ask you guys here, those who are, I think the seven of you are here, those who have attending our program. So I want to ask some of you, what are some of the challenges that we start facing in our life? What are some of the common challenges that we face, right from the birth till death? Can somebody tell me any of the challenge that you feel which are very common, which you usually face right from birth to death, this journey between B to D? Anybody would like to contribute? Okay, Sanjana has mentioned the career. So yes, career comes a much later, you know, but definitely this is a challenge. Now, if I talk about the challenge right from the birth, when you are born in a family, when you're born, that environment, adjusting to that environment, getting to know your parents, getting to know your caregivers, it's a big challenge. So I would say, when you're born, adjusting to this world, because you are new to this world, you're trying to adjust in the environment, that is a challenge. Growing up, going to school, yes, Devyani, it's challenge. So next challenge come when you are learning to walk. Yes, Dewey has mentioned when we are learning to walk, you know so this is another challenge when, like, for example, when you are born, you are just 2.5 year old, you have just somehow got adjusted, got to know your family, got to know your caregiver. But now for you to, now the time comes for you to go to a school. So now your parents get your admission done in the preschool, where you meet another people, another strangers. Again, children experience separation anxiety when they are being separated from their caregivers and they are going to a new setup. Adjusting to that new environment is a big challenge for them. And again, by the time they adjust to that small setup, then the next time comes for them to go to a bigger school. They're again getting to know the bigger crowd, getting to know the other classmates in the bigger school. So, and then growing up and going to school, which they mentioned by Devyani. And as we go on now, for example, a child, a small child who is just learning to write, you know for him, if he has learned to write A for apple, just the first alphabet, that's a big success for him, because with much challenge he has learned it. But for us it may not make that, it may not make that kind of success, but for the child it's so, but if for him it is a challenge. For a child to get the spelling right is a big challenge. And as you go ahead, getting the schooling done, getting your 8th standard done, getting your 10th standard done is and as you move on, getting your 12th done. After 12th, then moving to Sanjana's feedback, that career comes another as a challenge for us. Now, getting the right type of course, getting into the right stream is a big challenge nowadays. We see people are still confused. They take up certain courses, but still they're confused. So, getting into the right, choosing the right stream, getting the right college is a big challenge. And after you're done with your college, getting into the right career, making the right career choices is a challenge. And even if you happen to choose the right career, and if you're satisfied, and then getting the good life partner is a big challenge. And once you get the good life partner, adjusting to the life partner is a challenge. And once you have your own kids, that is another challenge. And then another circle starts. So this journey of these challenges go on and on. There is nothing called a never, like, we can say it's a never ending process. So I would say the journey of challenges is a womb to tomb process. It's a process of womb to tomb where people are, experiencing challenges in their life. So I would say the only time you do not face any challenge is when you hit a deep point, when you die. That is the only time you don't have any challenge. Otherwise, every moment, everything is a challenge for you. Now, if you look at, nowadays, what is, if you look at that today's current challenge, can somebody tell me what is the current challenge we are facing nowadays? If you talk about the current trends, what is the latest challenge, like, which we are actually going through currently? Can somebody share your view on that? Managing screen time, keeping yourself safe. Yes, very true. Any other feedback, any other comments, or any other input somebody would like to share? Yes, managing a screen time, because if you see, due to this COVID, everything has become online. Everything has become online, and days now we are too busy managing our work life online, that it's been very difficult, especially for the kids, even for the grown-ups, for the adults, to manage the screen time and keeping yourself safe is another. Yes, connecting online, it's, yeah, this is again a very big challenge. Even yes, even small things like going to a market is a big challenge for us. Yes. Apart from that, any other challenge do you feel we have, which is more severe challenge than this, which may not be connected with the COVID situation, but apart from COVID, what could be another challenge which is very severe, and which is very much connected with our life? What could be another challenge? Education, yes, education is a big challenge. Now if we look at one of the biggest challenge that we are facing nowadays, one of the bigger, peer pressure is a challenge. Yeah, very true. If we look at uh, how the problems has been increasing, and how people are going through a time of stress and depression, and they are going through a lot of the time of turmoil they're going through. So what is the one of the common reason for people to experience these challenges? I want to tell you, I want to share with you one of the very most common but the most happening challenge of our life, that is a miscommunication. Miscommunication, do you agree, guys, that this miscommunication has been the one of the biggest challenge of our day-to-day life? Because every conflict, every bigger challenge that you face in your relationship, it all begins with a miscommunication, with a little misunderstanding, over not agreeing with our colleagues, not agreeing with our partner on certain things, and then you stop talking to that person, and then you stop avoiding that person, and eventually, being worried about that person, carrying those hurt feelings within you, you start avoiding that person, you start staying in this phase of stress and anxiety, which kind of lead you to a lot of other psychological problems. So this miscommunication has been a big challenge nowadays. And other thing I would like to share with you, people have lost the sense of belonging. Now, one of the things which I would really highlight is there are a lot of now, since the topic for today is light of life. So even though the topic is light of life, but there are a lot of dark areas of our life. As I told you, even though we are born, it's like when we are born, we are like a clean slate. There is nothing written on it. But as we grow up, you know, the script of our life is being written by our parents, by our caregivers, by our teachers, by our friends, our peer group. So they start scripting our life. And by the time we come to a teenage, we become the different version of ourselves. We are not the person we were born with. We have become the person we were never before. So I always tell that whoever you are today, it's not you. This is what you have become over the time and years. Maybe based on the feedback and the inputs that you've been getting from other people. So there are a lot of, I have seen since I've been working in this field of mental health as a psychologist and a counselor for last 10 years. So I have come across many cases where I have seen people still struggling. They are in the phase of adulthood, but they are still struggling a lot of things that happened in their childhood. So that means the people are, maybe what happened in their childhood, they are still struggling. What happened in their childhood, they are still struggling with. They are still going through that phase of struggle. So I really want to help you that there are a lot of dark areas or the gray areas of our life which really we need to bring to the light, because I see a lot of parents struggling to manage their kids nowadays. I see there's a lot of conflict happening between spouses. There has been a lot of conflict happening within the family. So I would say, and each one, we are playing a game which is called blame game. Everyone is pointing out fingers on the other people. You know, everyone is pointing out the fingers on others, but nobody is able to accept. So I would say the biggest problem, the biggest challenge that we are facing is, first of all, not realizing that we are doing something wrong. That means when we have no realization of what is happening in our life, whether good or bad, when we are unaware about what is happening in our life, that means we are still living in that dark, still we are in the darkness, because we are, though our eyes are opened, we could see everything clearly, but we cannot see what is happening in our life, what is happening in our relationships, what is happening. And most of the time we try to blame, we try to criticize, we try to point out things on other people. And I usually tell parents that when a lot of parents come to me uh, with a lot of problems which their children are facing, and when I try to evaluate and analyze the problem which their children are facing, actually most of the problems are connected with the parents themselves. Even this last Sunday, I was taking this webinar for the parents where I'm talking about uh, the things that we want to see changed in our kids. We got to change in ourselves. It's like raise yourself before you raise your kids. Even I share this thing in my lot of counseling courses with my students. Becoming a counselor, becoming a psychologist is a journey of self transformation. Before you become a light for other people, before you start showing direction to other person, Are you walking in the light of life? Or I am walking in the darkness, but I'm trying to show the light to other people? That means we are leading people not to the light but to the darkness. So this webinar, I really want to stress upon that we should first of all identify. I'm going to share with you the four ways of bringing about change in ourselves. The first one is a self awareness. Unless and until we are aware about what is happening within us, unless and until we are aware about it, sometime this awareness will come to different people. Or sometime you get an intuition when sometime you're sitting in your meditation, you're going through some book, you're reading a book of self-help, or you're going through a scripture, or you're listening to a talk. Sometimes there comes an awareness which kind of brings an insight to your life. Okay, I need to change. I think these are areas I need to work on. But what happens, though we have the awareness, we don't do anything about it. Most of the people get awareness. Why they are not able to still change? Because they live on the awareness itself. Now, the second step is, once you know that this is a problem, first, the biggest problem that people don't consider their problem as a problem. They think, okay, it's okay, chalta hai. So we don't have to take things lightly. Every small problem that you're facing in your life, which is becoming a problem for other people, we got to change. And to bring about change, the first step is becoming aware about it. If you feel that you are not able to get that level of awareness, you could seek a help to a professional or a mentor or a teacher who would help you to show the mirror of your life. Second step is, uh, once you get the awareness about it, second is you accepting it. Because the moment you know this is a problem, but we don't accept, we are living in that phase of denial. Though we know that this is wrong with me, but I don't accept it as a problem. And when I don't accept, I don't work on it. In order for you to start working on your problem, first of all you need to be aware about it. Secondly, you need to accept this is a problem. You need to come in terms with your problem. Third, you start working on it, implementation, and that's when you see a change. So what I'm going to share with you, maybe as I already shared with you, that our life begins with a B, that's a birth, it ends with a D, that's a death, and both the events we have no control over. And the third element which I shared is C. C stands for challenge. And we have already shared a lot of challenges that we face in a life, right from a birth to till death. There have been a lot of challenges that we've been facing. We are surrounded by a problem, the challenges in our life. And nowadays, the challenges has increased all the more because of this pandemic, because of these job challenges, because of many people are losing a job. A lot of times we are not able to, you know, see actually what is happening in our life. The biggest problem is we are looking for a quick fix solution for every problem that we're facing. As life has become very fast, for every problem there is a quick solution. But that quick solution, we cannot look for our psychological and emotional concerns. Our emotion needs a time to process and heal. So now there is another element which I would like to share with you. After having a lot of challenges, there is another C. Can somebody guess from the audience what could be that, the second C, what I'm talking about? Can somebody guess from the audience? If you can put in the chat box. So what could the second C mean? We have a B, birth, D stands for death, C stands for challenges. And what could this blue or the another C would mean? What does it mean? It is a choice. So it means the power of choice. We do not have a control over birth. We do not have control over our we do not have a control over our death. We do not have a control over the challenges. But the only thing we have control over is the choice. The only person in this world that I can control is me. And that is one of the biggest challenge that everyone, the children are trying to control their parents, parents are trying to control their children, a spouse is trying to control the wife, husband is trying to control the wife, and wife is trying to control the husband. Everyone is in the process of controlling somebody or the other, and that's when we have a lot of clashes happening. That's when, because we are not operating from the mode of light, but we are operating from the mode of darkness. When we have a lot of dark areas in our life, we are we are only able to spot those dark areas in other people's life. Like for example, when I try to find fault on certain things on other people, most of the time that means those faults are not in those people, but those faults are in me. Before I start finding fault in other people, am I free from my own faults? That's a very important element to reflect upon. And as I told you already, whoever you are, whether you are a teenager, whether you are a child or a college student or a working professional, whoever you are, at what stage you are, it doesn't matter. Because whoever you are today, it's the product of yesterday. Maybe earlier you didn't have the power to make a choice. Maybe you were an infant, you were a child, your parents made a choice for you, maybe other people made a choice for you, which led you to become the person who you are. But right now you have the complete awareness about making a better choice. So let me tell you, making a choice, the power of choice. We as humans are the only species on this planet Earth who are gifted with this unique gift of choice and free will. If you look at all the species on the earth, they don't have this power or the faculty to make a choice. We are the only one. That's the reason God has blessed us with the capability to change anytime. It doesn't matter what phase you are into, what age you are into. So the moment you realize, and so the moment you realize, the first step is the realization. Second is accepting it. Third one is implementing it, taking those precautions, taking those uh, action plans into the practice. That's what can bring you life. So we should not wait, for somebody, to come into our life and then we start doing things, but without waiting much, I think we should start working on it. There is so I would say that nobody would come and light up of your life. We need to take that initiative of your own. A counselor will be able to give you a spark for you to light up your life, but you need to keep yourself going. You need to do this beginning. I would say this festival of life, this Diwali, is it presents the light, so you need to realize, become aware about those dark areas of your life. Though those dark areas could be, it could be, you are not able to get up on time, you are able to, start, you are postponing things, you are not able to be productive, you are not able to use your time productively. So there could be a lot of dark areas of your life which you want to bring about change. So let's take this chance, let's take this opportunity on this festival of Diwali to take one area of our life that we are struggling with, you know and then once we choose that, and then let's take and one, we can say, practical step or the action plan, what would can change, so that you can make a plan of, you know of 1 month, where you would be able to, like, I would say, I can give you a simple strategy. First, you choose one particular area, And once you are identified that one dark area of your life, you can think of what you can do daily, for at least for 15 to 20 minutes to bring about change in that particular area. What could be your daily activity? Then second step you could take, what could be your weekly activity, which would take you a little further to bring about change, and what could be your monthly activity. And once you are done, completed the circle of 1 month, you could repeat it for another 2 months. Let me tell you, I have done it and brought about change in many areas, the gray areas and the dark areas of our life, which really required light. And lot of many mentors which whom I connected to, a lot of my spiritual mentors and a lot of my psychological mentors, my own therapist, have shown me the light of life. And let me tell you, once you experience that light, once you experience, then you need to maintain that light within you, because you are the God particle, the God's assistance, exists in you. You have that, the power in you. God has blessed you with this free gift of making the right choice. So let's make a better choice. Let's light up our life on this festive of Diwali, so that we are not only celebrating this Deepavali just with crackers and with sweets, but bringing about some change, taking some decisions to light up our life. And let me tell you, before you start lighting up other people's life, before you have to become, you know, a person who is having the light within. And once you have the light within you, that's when you will be able to show light to your children, to your near and dear ones, and to other people out. So thank you to the audience who are connected to this live session, and I hope you have uh, liked this session. Now, if you have any questions on it, like on the topic, or in the top, or any general topic, so I think we could discuss about it. It's an open forum, so Devyani could moderate the questions, and then we can take it forward. We have got another 15 minutes to go.
If there are no more questions, then we would love if all of you could, share a little bit about what are the lights of your life. You can either put it on the chat box, or you can also send us a small video, and we would put that on our social media pages. We have a question, sir. It says, how do we help people by being the light for others?
Being, how do we help people by being light for others? See, for example, I think at some point or the other, we are in a position of helping people out, is it? So when we are in the position of helping people out, so like you are, whether you are in the house, whether you're in a job or in a college, sometimes we are given a responsibility to lead, is it? So when we have responsibility to lead, so we can only lead, when we are clear with that direction. So definitely you will be, now let me tell you, when you are taking people to the darkness, maybe you are walking with a group of people in the darkness, but if you have the torchlight in your hand, what do you think, that you will be able to direct people into the right direction, or you will be randomly walking? So in order to, so I would say that every leader should have a light within, because every leader is a visionary who is able to see things for others which the other people are not able to see. So I would say, like for example, now I am heading this organization, I am the founder and the CEO of this organization. Now I am need to create a vision for my organization, if my for my team, if we have to go smoothly. But if you don't have that vision and that light within me, I will not be able to show the light to the people who are associated with me. I hope, Sanjana, it answers your question.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Another question that we had was that what does one do when they do find the light of their lives? Do you stop right there after supposedly somebody's gone through some low and they found that light for themselves? Do they just stop at that light, or do you also seek more and better things?
Definitely. See, I will tell you one small example to make this concept more clear. Now, if it's like once we have, would say that, take a glass of water. Once you just take an empty glass, and when you start pouring water into it, once the water is it's full to the peak till or till the edges, what happens after that if you keep pouring? It start overflowing, is it? So it cannot hold that water inside, and it starts flowing in abundance. So I would say that the moment you have experienced that light, definitely, even this morning I was listening to one of the talks where it would say, when you experience light, when you experience something good in your life, when that experience, you cannot keep it for yourself. That experience has become a guidance for the other person who might fall into the similar situation which you were into. You got into the situation and invented something new which would help other people so that they may not fall. You have shown a direction, and given a path which people would walk on. So you don't stop there. That's the reason when people, when you grow in certain things, you keep on growing. It's like when you got admission done in your degree. When you're done with the first year, okay, fine, let me finish it up. No, you go a step ahead. Then you go, still you are completed again. The journey doesn't end. Go for your masters. You go for your PhD. Even after doing your PhD, your search for your knowledge does not end. It's same with the light. Once you experience the deeper self of yourself, you start going more deeper in, and this light within you takes you all the more deeper into yourself.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for answering that question and sharing that super relatable example.
Yes.
Um, does anybody else have any question for sir? We are taking our queries now, or anybody would like to share anything about the topic, or any something from their side. The chat box is open. Okay, since there are no more questions, we will be wrapping up our session now. Thank you so much, everybody who tuned in and took time out. We understand it's a festive week and everybody's busy with a thousands of different things at home. But thank you so much for being a part of this organization in such a lovely way. Thank you so much for so patiently listening and understanding and absorbing all the information that we have to give you. We sincerely hope that everything Sir said today um, is, taken by you and absorbed by you, and it helps you in a way that we want, and in a much, much better way than we wish.
Can,
All of us wish you a very happy Diwali,
can somebody
and
would
I'm going to give
maybe
it now to Samuel, sir.
other than Devyani, can somebody would like to like, or anyone would like to share your maybe what is something that you really liked about the session, because that would really help us to have better sessions for the next time. So your sharing would help us, anything you could share it in the chat box, or you could share it out verbally, anything that's, or even Devyani would share if you something you have took away, from this session, even you could also share. even Sanjana could share.
I think for me, my biggest takeaway from the session was just how easy it is to, find that light, and how I don't need to excessively work or, take time out and not stress over things. The major thing that I learned is that there are things that I have no control over. And like you rightly said, it's our choice to choose something for ourselves. And I think as long as we keep on choosing things, and we keep on choosing things that are beneficial for us and we find healthy for us, I think we can go a really long way in terms of having a better mental health and just being healthy overall. So I just want to thank you for sharing all the things that you did.
Yes, thanks, Devyani. We have another feedback here. It was amazing. I've been attending few webinars of your organization. They are very so informative. Simply put, each time it feels like a family. Thanks, Yuvika, for sharing this beautiful feedback.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for the wonderful session. So my takeaway from this session is that so from after the session, I realized that okay, the choices that we make for ourselves, they rather end up being the light that we are looking for. So the right choices that we select actually become the right. So there is this poem called "The Road Not Taken," where two roads diverge, where we have so so based on that, so we it's like the choice of route that we take will take us to the destination. So if my choice is to take a different route, my destination will be different. So so I greatly learned about the choices, the C between the B and D, the challenges and the choices was very enlightening, and it was something that gave me great deal of knowledge. Thank you so much for sharing this wonderful session.
Yeah, thanks, Sanjana. Thank you so much for sharing it. Okay, so I think let's wind up. I think since it's a festive season, I think everybody got to have a lot of things. You know, So thanks Devyani for moderating the session, and thanks Sanjana for also supporting from the back end, providing all the technical support, both of you. And thanks to all the participants, once again, joining us and wishing you uh, happy Diwali, and may this Diwali bring true light in your life. You may identify the true purpose and the light of your life, so that you light up your life and thus become a light for other people too. So thank you everyone.